what's up? It's Joel from Joel Does Music. This is a super exciting discussion we're about to have. I discovered this artist just by pure chance on social media and got obsessed with their debut album that's called Overthinking Everything. All the way from Chicago, Illinois, one of my favorite new alternative artists. We got Ryan Nolen of the band Footballhead. Ryan, what's up, dude?
Hey Joel, thanks man. You were born for this, man. You sound great. I'm happy to be here.
Dude, I'm so stoked to have you because when I discovered your band, of course, the first thing I did was check out your debut album. And right away, and I'm not saying this because I'm a quote unquote music content creator, but as someone who is also a musician and has been for almost 2 decades, and as someone who has had their life changed by music, this is a phenomenal album. I think you should really be proud of it. It's that damn good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I would be capping, as the children say, if I said that we were not proud of it. So I appreciate the love for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we talk more about the album, first off, congrats on the release. It came out in July or June, I believe, and you had your album release show in July. I saw the footage. So sick, man. Tightrope and Etched You In go hard live. It is crazy how good those songs are live.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's you just called out two of my favorites for sure. So I would say that yeah, those are staple tracks for me. Of course, everyone has their preferences and stuff, but I do love those two songs. I'm glad you liked them too.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kick off the interview, I'm sure you've been asked this so many times, and I kind of know the answer to it. How often do you get asked if the name Footballhead is a reference to Hey Arnold?
Yeah, man, it for sure is. Actually, if you want to know the truth, the first EP, Kitchen Fly, we did a music video for Detour, which is the first song. It's technically the first Footballhead song ever. And as we were filming it, I wanted to, I don't think I've actually said this publicly to anyone. I wanted to call the project Noel Gallagher because my last name's Nolen. And that's my Instagram handle, and it's just a joke, like Noel Gallagher, the famous Oasis guitar player, and then my last name's Nolen. You get the picture. But I talked to some people who are involved in law, music law, and like the phonetic pronunciation of Noel Gallagher was going to get me into some trouble. So I had to opt for a new name, and we were having a Hey Arnold conversation while filming the music video for that song. I was just like, Footballhead got brought up, and I was just like, damn, like Footballhead, like that totally works. Like, holy shit, like I'm gonna go, check that out and see if. And basically, there was no real like digital footprint with the name. So, I mean, we're all Nickelodeon, born and bred, or a lot of us are people, and I loved Hey Arnold, so it felt like it was appropriate, and I just went for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a sick name. I love it. It's kind of funny, too, because it is from the show Hey Arnold, which I grew up on, being a 90s kid myself. So when it came to the project, I know you also have your other band, Kirby Grip, which is completely different from Footballhead. You have the 90s leaning towards like the poppier side of alternative radio rock with Footballhead. Kirby Grip, definitely like more in the shoegaze, Smashing Pumpkins vibe. So this project has been around for how long, Ryan? About a year by now, right?
It's just a year, yeah. I think we're just closing a year, maybe 13 months. So it's been a lot of music, like really fast. But due to talented friends and, streamlined processes and stuff, if a song is a song, it's been pretty attainable to go out and record one. And with pop songs, it's just been fun, man. Like I'm back in that sphere of like, what makes a good pop song? What does a pop song need? What does a pop song not need? Because sometimes pop songs can be under 2 minutes, And yeah, so it's been really fun to just see what this project is capable of, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the end result being Overthinking Everything, phenomenal album, like I said. The guitars on the album are huge, which is kind of different compared to like poppier 90s alt rock, like I was saying, like very much in the vein of early Jimmy Eat World, like I've heard on the album, you have your Third Eye Blind influence as well. So talking more about the album, let's get into it actually.
Sure.
You pulled a Dave Grohl, dude. You recorded all the instrumentals except for Adam Siska. So would you prefer doing that as far as the recording process, like laying down each track, or do you think in the future, you know what, I'm going to save some time. I'll incorporate other band members to help me with recording and tracking.
Sure. So for tracking, actually, my engineer and producer and bandmate Snow Reyes also goes by Snow Ellett. Snow did a ton of tracking on the Overthinking Everything record with me. So we split that up, we divvied that up, and Snow is a savant, man, like such a good musician. Between, you know, everything on there, like you know, we sort of operate as a band, even though it's technically a solo project, I suppose.
Sure.
And Snow is by and large, like, I mean, it's like watching the best. It's like watching Slash record, you know, like just out of this world lead lines and immense talent. So if there's a part in a song that like Snow tracks better than me, I have no problem. Like, it's for the greater good, it's for the whole, and like my pride is not damaged, and Snow will track that. And I think we have fun doing it that way. Like, oh, here's this line, and I'm just, you know, like, dude, you play it better than me, you track that, you know. And then we obviously got Adam playing bass for us, who's been around the world and back again, doing crazy stuff with Academy, Say Anything, and Carly. And then I got two buddies who've been playing. My buddy Robbie plays drums for me, and my friend Matt, who's on tour with Origami Button, is his band. He plays drums for me as well. And then Liam Burns is my boy. He's also ripping an element of like lead guitar, and he's so good too. So it's kind of cool how like it's really a gang of friends too. I should shout out my friend Brandon, who plays an Origami Button too. He's played guitar for me. All these guys, man, are leagues above me as far as musicianship goes. Like, these guys are the real Dave Grohls. I wish I could be the dude who drummed on the Songs for the Deaf record and recorded all the Foo Fighter stuff, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I had my degree of help, you know. So the band's just been awesome, man. Like, everyone comes together, and traditionally speaking, we like to play it live exactly how it's on the record. I mean, we do like a couple like fun vamps and stuff when we play, but like everyone, you know, kind of like you're showing enthusiasm for the way it sounds. Like, I think we like that too, like just to like sort of make it as accurate and energetic as it sounds like on record, and try and replicate that and do it live. So, yeah, man, that's a long-winded way of me telling you I got some sweet people playing with me.
No, I mean, I like how you beautifully described it, because it helps to have a band full of extremely talented people, because it's a big learning experience, and it really helps with getting your name out there, especially the Footballhead brand, if you will. Like, sure. You guys kick ass live, and I love how it's not just a sense of, you know, punk rock energy, but I saw part of not the live stream, but the release show, where you're just passing out shots to the audience. I'm like, this is a fun band. These are guys that you want to hang out with after a show, have a good time, no bad vibes whatsoever, you know?
That means a lot that you say that, because I don't really know like what everybody like. I stay focused and like stay in our lane, and I think that we are like a group of dudes who like, we're very inclusive people. We want everyone to be a part of the experience. Like, obviously this band is about having like a fucking ass ton of fun too. Like, everything should be fun, and it should always stay that way. And I think that like our energies just default go there. So it rocks. I love that you watched the YouTube video, man. It was a grand slam of a night. We loved it, and bummed that we haven't played since, but I mean, our next show is going to be sweet too, in LA. But yeah, man, like that night was, I'll never forget it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal, not just for you personally, but for your musical career, just releasing all these songs you've been working on for months and months, just with helpful collaborations, it's out into the world. Like, it just has to feel so euphoric hearing the audience like singing your songs, like watching them go crazy in the pit to all these songs you've been working on. Like, it has to feel amazing, right?
It did, man. Yeah, and it's cool. Like I've been at music in a serious realm, like again, probably the last 5-ish years or so. And this is kind of the first time where like I'll gig and I'll know people that, like, if I play in Chicago, for example, and this band so far we've only played in Milwaukee and Chicago, but when I look out there and I like see people, like, of course there are some homies, you know, there's my friends, there's my homegirls, there's my homies, but there's also like people I don't know. There are straight up like there was some people, especially at the release show, where I was just like, they like knew the words and I didn't have a relationship with them in any way. And like a lot of bands don't get to experience that feeling, so I'm not taking it for granted, I guess is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, incredible experience, incredible show. That's what music is all about at the end of the day, just being inclusive, bringing everyone together, like no matter what your background is. It's just an all-inclusive experience at the end of the day, you know?
You're right, man. I mean, yeah, and I'm lucky. Like that's not even a conversation that I have to have with any of my friends either. It's like everybody's MO, you know? So it's
Yep.
like, it rocks, man.
So you mentioned that you were taking music seriously about 5 years ago, but let's talk about Ryan like pre 5 years ago, talking about Ryan in the 2000s, early 2010s. So being from Chicago, you have some iconic music venues in the area, man. You got the Metro, Aragon Ballroom, the Riviera. Growing up in the 2000s music scene, what kind of impact did it have on you, not just musically, Ryan, attending these shows or even these venues that you went to, but how do they impact you personally, shaping you into the person that you've become today?
Totally. Well, I've got two places I really drive inspiration from. So, I was born in the West Chicago suburbs. And I lived there until I was about 11 or 12. And then I moved to California, actually. I moved to Southern California and I grew up in Palm Springs and I went to San Diego State. And so that's where the San Diego area is where I went to like a lot of my first, like we threw high school, like house shows and stuff in the desert. And I played like Chain Reaction in Anaheim a couple times when I was in high school. But San Diego was really like where I got my start. And there's this place called the Epicenter in Mira Mesa, which is where I used to see like pop punk bands like Man Overboard and Transit and The Story So Far and like
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean those were so fun. Like my college friends, I got them into, you know, the Property of Zach era bands. And that was like that like planted the seed for me, but like that wasn't really during college I wasn't really writing songs and I didn't have a band. I just like I remember I drummed with this one guy and it just like it didn't click for whatever reason. Like and that's kind of a lame feeling, but we all go through it for sure as like, you know, people trying to assemble, you know, projects and so forth. But so like I've done all that, and then I had a beach rock band called Pocket Hole in like 2018, which was super fun. We gigged like the local San Diego music scene, like Soda Bar, Casbah, some like awesome stuff there. Those are the main two venues we got to play. But then like I moved here. I'm mixing the timeline up, but when I moved here when I was like 24, 25, that was when I started going to like I would go to Kohl's, I would go to like the Mutiny, I would go to local Logan Square venues. Some of them, it sucks, they're closed, but like going to a show at the Empty Bottle, going to a show at Shuba's, going to a show at Lincoln Hall, like Sleeping Village, which is where we've had the pleasure to, you know, play a couple times. Actually, Sleeping Village and Shuba's are the only places Footballhead's played in Chicago, but with other bands I've played everywhere. We've just gotten lucky with our name and our friends and stuff like that. But Chicago music rocks, dude. Like it's gone through so many stages. Like there's the alternative phase of like the 90s, the Liz Phair's, the Pumpkins, like you said, and then there's like the mid 2010s, like pop punk era of like Chicago music, which I was a little too late for. And after like a garage rocky era in Chicago, it kind of feels like guitar bands, like distortion alternative guitar bands, are back in Chicago. And there are so many that I really like a lot, particularly if I could shout out a few. Demo Division is my favorite Chicago band right now. They're so good. They're dudes from Little Village. I love Mila La Morena. Mila's a friend of mine, and she dates one of the other guitar players in Origami Button, but I think her band's really great. I love Liska. But there's bands like Bottom Bunk and like Scarlet D'Amour and like all these other bands that are doing really well. Habitats, like it really feels like Chicago, loud Chicago guitar rock, whether it's alternative bass, hardcore bass, emo bass, it's all in good hands right now, which feels awesome.
Especially with this decade, I'm really curious what your take is on this. It feels like you were saying before, with loud guitar rock and pop punk being back stronger than ever in the 2020s, there's also a sense of nostalgia, I find, that just like has crept up. And I think it's kind of has like its pros and cons. What's your take on the whole nostalgia being part of the reason why pop punk, emo, and loud guitar rock are back better than ever this decade?
Joel, that's an important question to ask, because it's so really obvious, like clear. It couldn't be more glaring. Like on the internet, like you'll see an Instagram band that's just like singing lyrics made in a machine, and like that stuff I think is like desperate and really lame. But the good thing is it's so obvious who's being real and who's writing original thing. Like it's so cool to know that there's a landscape of like alternative shoegaze pop punk music that's like completely untapped, like there's so many bands out there that would have done so well in the late 2000s or the early 2010s. They're just as original as those bands. But then you see a lot of like paid advertisements on your Instagram for bands that are just trying to evoke like some weird corny Yellow Card Ocean Avenue like energy. And I'm not saying Yellow Card was corny at all for the time that they came out with that record. I'm just saying that like they rip the brand and they make it, the cheapest version possible, like the dollar store version of the style of music. And yeah, you can't give it your attention, or otherwise it'll keep happening,
It's hard because I feel like on TikTok and Instagram with those ads, and trust me, I've seen them, they're just so oversaturated. It's kind of hard to tell, like you were saying. And I think that's such a good point, man. It's hard to tell which bands or artists are being authentic, or if they're just being, I'm probably going to cause controversy here, I hope not, culture vultures, just like cashing in on the trend, not being their authentic selves. But I'm so glad you brought that up, man. I thought I was the only one that kind of noticed it, really.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, I mean, we live in our generation's sort of afraid to like start dialogue sometimes, I feel like. I mean, we do it and it's important, but like that kind of stuff is just like, it sucks, man. It sucks that it's so phony, and it sucks that it's being perpetuated in many ways. But what's good is for the amount of people trying to do that, there's just as many guitar bands that are like authentic and original and good. And as long as we keep giving those people our attention and go to their shows, I think that the what's the phrase? I don't know, the foam floats to the top, or whatever it is, like the cream floats to the top. That's what I was trying to say.
I've never heard that, actually. That's a good phrase. I'm going to start using that, actually. I'll give you credit for it.
Thank you.
So speaking of such great musicians and icons, I got to backtrack a little bit, because Adam Siska from the Academy is a Chicago legend in his own damn right. He played bass on your debut album, and he's done that live show with you. How the hell did he get on the recording process and to be in your live band? Because, again, legendary artist. I read somewhere that I think you guys are neighbors, or you live in the same neighborhood in Chicago.
Yeah, so Liam, who plays guitar with me, he had me over for a Bulls game, and he had told me that Adam was his neighbor. But it was kind of just like one of those things, like we were just going through life, you know, just like hanging out. Like Liam and I do much more than music. Like we play basketball and we like have the same social groups and stuff. But he's just like, yo, come over for this game. Like, and then he dropped like, hey, like my neighbor who played in the academy, and the academy is just, because I've been going to Riot Fest the past couple years, like since I've lived here, the past 4 or 5 years or whatever, every year. And I had known that the academy did a after show. They did one at Concord Music Hall with Midtown, and I think it was on well, they closed out Riot Fest for sure. They played at the same time as Nine Inch Nails, but I had known that they had done a Riot Fest after show, and I had known that Liam had gone to the show. So I was like, oh, okay, they're boys or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's like super sick. Like I've told this to Adam. He made a joke that I owe him money. But yeah, like I for sure had downloaded, like when I was super young kid, like whatever, sixth grade, I had downloaded like Almost Here, or I had Slow Down, or like The Phrase That Pays, or like one of those songs. I knew About a Girl. Like I know the Academy is like big songs for sure. And then like when he was there in Liam's room, my friend Max had like put on my record like as a joke to like make me feel uncomfortable or like tease me or whatever. And Adam heard it for the first time, and he was just like, who is this? And everyone was like, it's Ryan. And then he was like, basically is just like, this is you? And I was like, yeah. And like my first show had just been like days before that. Anyways, him and I started chatting. Next thing you know, 45 minutes had gone by. Next thing you know, we go out to a bar, and you know, he's coming with, and we're talking music and talking the past, and like I'm asking him all these questions because he's done so many cool things. And then we exchanged like social media, and the next day he had texted me and he was like, yo, I listened to this EP like many times, like since last night. And he was like, you mind if we link for lunch? And so we linked, and yeah, we had a conversation. He was like, can I play bass in this band? I was like, of course you fucking can. So, yeah, that's the story. Basically.
Dude, that is so amazing, and it's so kind of him, very laid back too, for him to just ask someone. Like, you have someone who is like right here, has played around the world, has done festivals, released, you know, really amazing albums from the 2000s, just saying, hey, can I join your band? That has to feel like some sort of like pat on the back, or like, hey, I did this, man. Like it's some kind of badge of honor, you know?
Dude, it was really cool. And like, I'm not like super into like, I only need to be like validated to a certain extent, if that makes any sense. Like I've always like believed in myself, and like I've been writing music, and like I've hoped that it's good. But like when Adam told me he like liked Footballhead and he wanted to play in the band, that was just like emotionally for me, like that propelled me to want to push this thing a little further, if that makes sense. Because like I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, you've been places I want to go, you know? And it's not to say that like me and him and Snow and everybody else I play with, like we're still figuring it out every day, and we're still having conversations that are crucial, and they're gonna, you know, push us down one road or another. But like what's cool is that he kind of started, I've been making music with Snow for a long time too, and he put me and Snow in a position where we believe in ourselves more for sure now. And yeah, so I'm so grateful for Adam's friendship and his musicianship, and yeah, he rocks, man.
I'm curious about this because he's in your band now. In a way, he's acting like a mentor to you, kind of guiding you in the right direction. Was there one piece of wisdom that he gave to you that you really like remembered it, and you're going to take to heart, and you're going to use it for the rest of your career?
He has a lot of memorable quotes as far as things he says. Man, I don't know if I could pick one. He tells me to keep writing. Like that's one thing that I will say that he like keeps pushing on me, is just like write, and like the rest will fall into place. And although I've like always known that or thought that, I like take it more to heart now.
No, absolutely, it does. I mean, you have someone who, again, is kind of like a mentor to you, just giving you advice that you know, but also it's coming from someone who has that experience. It's telling you just keep writing, everything will fall into place, man, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. He's super positive. Right? You need that positive, especially when you're like the one, like, I'm not saying I'm the one, but like when I create a lot, like as soon as you probably know this too, like when it's over, when a song's done, I'm like, damn it, it's dog shit, you know? And it takes some valuable sets of ears to just be like, nah, there's something here with this. So I'm the wind at their backs, you know?
That's the one downside of being a musician, man. We are our own worst critics, but then you have other people putting in their input. It's like, okay, maybe it's not so bad after all.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel that with him for sure.
Hey, so I know you have to leave in a couple minutes to go to practice. So, really quick, out of all the songs on Overthinking Everything, what's the one song that makes you go, wow, I can't believe I wrote that? I'm so proud of it.
It's a good question, man. What a question, Joel. Um, you know what? I don't know why I come back to it, and you brought it up in the start of the episode, but like Etched You In is like for some reason so far like people who've heard the album don't necessarily like maybe they haven't gotten to it yet, or like they're listening more to the front half of the record and like not necessarily the back. But like that one to me is such a like I tried to do like sort of like an Enema of the State B-side thing, kind of like where I'm like that song could probably like be on a Blink album or two, or like hopefully, you know, I tried, but I tried to do it in a way that was like me too, you know. But I just love that song for like its lead guitar line, its little bass outro, its chorus is so just like it, you use the word nostalgic. I don't know if it's nostalgic or it's just like fitting. Like I don't know. I really like that song, even though I don't even know if it's the direction we're headed. Um, it's just like it was so cool once it was done. I was so stoked about it.
It's such a phenomenal track, man. That lead guitar part is what hooked me into the song. I was just listening to it. I'm thinking, damn, I wish I wrote this, honestly. It's just so good.
You have to hook me up with some of your music after this call too. Gotta
Dude,
send it
yeah.
my way.
We're on Instagram right now. We're kind of Instagram buddies, so I'll
Yeah,
DM you whenever. It's all good.
for sure. Beautiful.
So, last question. Well, last few questions, because I know you really have to go soon.
Oh yeah,
So,
I got 5 minutes here.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Kind of an open-ended question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Pull the trigger on it. What's
Sure.
next for you, man? Where do you want to see Footballhead go? What are you hoping to accomplish within the next 5 to even 10 years musically?
Sure. That's a good question too. Um, I think we will hopefully get some label representation. And then we will play some sweet shows. And for me, like sincerely, the most rewarding part of music is making it. Like as much as shows are cool and yeah, like I mean like we definitely we're gonna tour. This band's gonna tour. Um we're gonna hopefully play some sick shows, but I just I wanna make records. Like that's my favorite. Um it's the recording process. The recording process isn't even my favorite. It's very satisfactory when it's done, but like for me, writing rocks. Like writing is my favorite thing. So like as long as I keep writing, and then I know that like recording comes as a byproduct of that, and just keep that up. Like that's all we want to do is take this shit to the fullest extent, man. I mean, like we love it and we're having fun, and that's it, you know.
I love it, man. That was beautifully well put. Ryan, again, thank you so much, man. This was such a fun conversation. We definitely have to link up again at some point. Come to New Jersey, hopefully soon. I'll get you a drink. We'll hang out, have a good time. It's going to be
Yeah,
fun.
Dude, absolutely. My girlfriend's family lives in New Jersey, so there's a chance uh we will be there in the next 6 months for sure.
Dude, you got to let me know. It's so
Yeah,
exciting. Oh,
I'll let
man.
you know.
Awesome. Ryan Nolen of the band Footballhead, thank you again so much for hanging out, having a good old chat. Where can anyone who's interested in, listening to your band or even getting to know you personally, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They can hit up the Footballhead Instagram. I'm actually like we're pretty good at least at this point right now, like replying and like opening messages and communicating with people. So like at Footballhead Shy, like Chicago, hit me up there if you have any questions or anything. I mean, I'm normally like I'll tell you like how many shirts we have left. I'll tell you like, when the show starts. Like I'm not a I abide by the don't be a stranger policy. I'll actually talk. So that's why I did this, and that's why you were so kind for reaching out.
And you're so kind for willing to chat with me and just have a good time. So again, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Best of luck, and I better see you next year, man. Seriously.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's totally do it.
All right. Much love, man. Thanks again, and have fun at practice tonight.
I will. I will. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joel.